Hi, Jeremy. Welcome. Thank you for being interviewed by us at TEFL Portal today.
No problem. Happy to help, Taryn.
So, do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from? How old are you? What is your teaching experience? What have you done?
Sure thing, no problem. My name is Jeremy. I'm 33 years old. I'm originally from Waco, Texas, and my background was post-production. So I used to do a lot of photography, video editing, and post-production as a career. When I started teaching, I used to do volunteer work at schools. So I would do like after-school programs that did photography programs, and I also volunteered at a Boys and Girls Club. And so when I got married, my wife, she was a school teacher. And so when I also did a lot of events, I also helped her out with her students and her classes. And it's been pretty much mostly volunteer work. And then I started doing teaching myself when before I went to China.
Mm-hmm.
And then from that point, it was more of a learning experience and curve because it's when you have your own class, it's a different animal than volunteering because you're mostly in the background just watching things happen and then you're told what to do. But when you're in charge, you have to really think about how everything really works and how you want to teach a lesson and get a message across for kids of different ages so it sticks, but also they have fun with it so it doesn't feel like learning, but mostly having fun.
Quite a challenge, eh? But an
Oh,
awesome challenge.
it, yes, a little bit of a struggle at first, but once you get your own teaching style and method, it becomes a lot easier.
This is true, definitely. So, Jeremy, let's talk a little bit about your TEFL experience. Do you feel that your TEFL course prepared you for the reality of teaching, and why or why not?
I'm definitely gonna say yes and no on that because when I first started doing the TEFL program, it actually was a great teaching aid to like introduce new material, especially teaching English as a foreign language. So when I first started, it was helpful in helping me introduce new materials and how to engage the students, make them involved and aware of what the lesson was. Because when you're teaching, like a lot of kids get bored really fast. So if you're not entertaining or interactive or like keeping their attention, they're not going to remember what you're teaching. So with TEFL, it was actually a great use of like introducing a lesson, engaging it, and then having activities so they'll like want to learn what's going on. So games would help out. And then when we reinforce the lesson, like, okay, this is how and why we use what we're learning. So that
Mm,
was great.
yeah.
No side to that answer was TEFL falls a little bit short when the classroom size is very, very big because it's
Mm,
perfectly a smaller classroom size because you can get more attention. Except if you're doing games and something that's interactive, the a certain like maybe 10 to 20 students would be like a perfect size so you can like have groups. But
mm,
anything above that, then the games might take a little bit too long, and so like the lesson doesn't really help out because you have to explain the rules, and then everyone doesn't get it, and then it becomes a whole thing if like maybe half the class doesn't get it. So I'd say the only downside was maybe just the class size. TEFL is a great teaching aid, so like I said, to introduce materials, but if the class size is like too big, and then it kind of falls short. So there has to be like something to be modded to help for a bigger class size of like 30 plus students, which was
yeah,
like
of course,
unpersonal.
science classes are 60 plus students sometimes. So yeah, that's definitely a good point. Especially going to China.
Oh yeah, but like I said, but overall, like I said, even in that situation with the class sizes being really big, it still helped me like set up a lesson to compensate for a large classroom. So maybe the games have to be modified, or the way I taught. So PowerPoint slideshows would be a big help. And again, that's where TEFL shines. So it's like I had a way to set up a lesson, introduce it, make it engaging, and then entertaining, and then modify the game, and then like after the game was done, and then we could see where what stuck and what didn't, so I could go back and reinforce and reintroduce and just like build on what I could see was working.
Mm, brilliant. Great. Um, what was one thing that you learned during your TEFL course that had a really big impact, a positive impact on your teaching ability and career?
The biggest impact, again, I would say was when I found my teaching style. Like I said, my background mainly was post-production, so I did a lot of photography. So when I was able to use like my background as a teaching aid, because the PowerPoints came in handy, so I was able to use like my past skills to like implicate in the classroom. So if I could do videos, I would make little videos or tell stories with the slideshows, like animations. So again, something that helped to engage with the students that wasn't in a textbook. So when I was able to apply my skills in something I was passionate about, the kids could feel that I was passionate about really teaching because I really wanted to learn it. And again, like if I could make it fun, then I didn't have to work at it. It was just like, oh, I'm doing what I love, and then the kids are having fun because like it doesn't feel like learning because it's, oh man, like this is cool, and oh, then that's the secret. Like you can get a kid to say this is cool, then they're going to learn it because they're sponge. They will just soak up the information, and it makes your job a lot easier. So when I found that out, it was just like smooth sailing from that point on.
And what you say is so important because if you bring your talents in, if you're a musician or an artist or whatever your talent is, and you bring it into the class, it kind of also creates a stronger relationship with the kids. They tend to respect you or be almost drawn into you more. So yeah, absolutely, that's a great thing to use what you've got and bring it into the class and make it part of your teaching style.
Definitely, because I remember doing a simple music lesson. We talked about instruments, and then we talked about genre. So these are like middle school students. But when I brought in music that I like to listen to, and it was fun, like some of the students like, hey, I like this song too. So that was fun. It's like, hey, the teacher's pretty cool. We listen to the same music. And so I could introduce them to like, do you know more songs or more music from this person or like this type of music? Like, oh yeah, I have a whole list. So I would bring in the list. And then the lesson didn't even become a lesson. It was just like, it was a playlist of like, here's the type of music, this is what's introduced, and so like the songs themselves became like the lessons. They're like, because they were into it, and like it's already a musical lesson. So if we're just talking about songs and what's in it, what composed the artist, and I'm like, again, it's like I didn't have to take extra steps. It was just bringing my interest into it, and they were interested, and so that's where everything just started taking off, and everyone was engaged. And I was like, wow, I was like, I wish all my lessons were like this.
Thank you. That's brilliant. What is one thing that you wish there'd been more focus on in the TEFL course?
Oh, discipline in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we do talk about, like I said, engaging with the students. But again, the students who get frustrated or says this is too hard, they don't want to pay attention, or so they might distract other students, or there'll be a disturbance themselves. So trying to, like I said, again, learning any language as a second language is already hard enough. Doing it as a younger student, it could be easier or harder based on sometimes the language, but also on the teacher. But if you see the student is frustrated, you don't want to be hard on them all the time unless they're really being disruptive and they're trying to like cause problems. Something I went into the classroom and I was like, okay, I'm having problems, so I'll talk to them. Like, hey, what's going on? If we couldn't understand each other, we had the TAs to explain things. But discipline action, because I don't like using the word discipline because like I'm not here to like be mean to you or make you do something you don't want to do. But it's like if you have a disruptive student, you just want to know like what's the best way to go about it, because yelling doesn't help anything. Keep putting them in timeout doesn't do anything. But you just want to understand like what can I do to make this easier for you and make it like fun so you can like understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm. And that seems to be quite a common complaint that new teachers feel, and that also schools feel that their new teachers are not prepared enough for classroom management. So yeah, that's definitely something we focus on a lot because that seems to be one of the big ones.
Yeah.
Are there any areas now, in retrospect, having taught for a few years, are there any areas that you felt were not included?
Well, I had two different scenarios because the first school I taught at was a training center. So usually when it came down to supplies, like if we needed something to teach a lesson, the biggest issue was the management wouldn't get us supplies to do it. So we would have to jerry rig something together last minute, or we were told to teach a lesson last minute, like a demo class that we were like not given any details about until like it's like 15 minutes about to start. So management was an issue for that. So nothing about TEFL on that end, but it was a training center that used the TEFL program. So management was an issue for the training center. But then when I went to a public school, I had control of supplies. I was in charge of my own classes, so I didn't have to rely on other people to get the things I needed. I could take care of it myself, which made everything a lot easier. So so overall, it's just like the schools or the centers you're working for can make a big difference. And again, like I've talked to other teachers that worked at other training centers and they didn't have that problem. So really, it's just down to like the luck of the draw of like, is it a good school? Is it a good training center? Because you're going to get both. You're going to get good and bad either way. But I had one good and I had one bad.
What is one piece of advice that you would give to a new teacher starting out?
Advice I would give: bring your passion into the classroom, first of all. And if you're happy to be there, the kids will feel it and pick up on it, and they'll be happy to learn from you. So don't be afraid to try something new. If it's not in the curriculum or in a book, again, play to your strengths. Do what works for you, because you have to think about yourself as a student. Like, what worked for you? What did you like? What didn't you like? Were you hands-on? Could you like read a book and just know it? Because again, depending on your class size, you're going to have students who are hands-on learners. You're going to have some who are book smart. So you have to find that compromise of like, I need to teach this one lesson to everybody so they understand it. So if you bring like, again, you're strong, whatever your background is, whatever you're strong in, you can and tie it to a lesson. You can hit a wide range of not just how to teach, what to teach, but how to teach. Because because your students are gonna be like, again, across the board of, I am bored with this. This isn't fun. I like this. I understand it, but I need to physically like touch or see it, or because I like by reading the book, I'm not gonna get it. So bring your passion and bring your like any background skills that you grew up with, and so overall personal experience. Bring your personal experience of like when you were a student and your passion as like a teacher, like what makes you want to teach and why you want to keep doing it. Because you're going to hit those moments where it's like, oh man, like I didn't get anywhere with the students today, but it was still worth it. Like I did make some progress, but then you pick it up the next day and like, okay, I know where I can do better and like keep doing better from here on out.
Brilliant advice. Thank you so much, Jeremy. I appreciate your time. Thank you for spending today with me and chatting to me, and go well.
So you're very welcome, and it was a pleasure, and I'm happy to help.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.